Yes, sir.
I have a
Senator
question.
West.
I have a question now. You know, you asked a question about bipartisan participation. Now, let me give you a perspective. I think parents should have a right to participate in their children's education and provide direction. All right, let's start off that way. Here's the issue, though. The issue, one of the issues. The issue is whether public schools, which we are constitutionally required to do, are getting the same resources, number one. Number two, when we look at vouchers, and this is not towards Creighton at all, because I pretty much know his heart. When we look at vouchers, we look at the history of them. And we have to make certain that we're not developing another system that was born in racism, which, that's what these vouchers were used for initially, when whites didn't want to go to school with blacks after the Civil War. All right? And this is not the case here, but we've got to look at that. And then the development of separate but equal, Plessy versus Ferguson, those are, which was a constitutional case. And legislatures, state legislatures, put in place these particular programs. And so we that are kind of, I guess you could say, somewhat cautious about these particular programs have to kind of take that into consideration, because state legislatures develop these programs. And you look at the journals of the Texas legislature, they were involved. They were involved in it, not wanting to go to school with black kids. And then when we look at some of the issues in terms of programs around the country, what we see is that in areas that are predominantly African American or Hispanic, then most of the kids that are taking advantage of these scholarships or vouchers end up being white students in areas that are predominantly minority. Those are the issues that we're having to look at. Now, the votes here to pass it? Yes, just like they were back in 1865 and 1866.
Oh, come on.
Okay?
That's a little far.
Well, no.
Senator West.
You said, well, you may think it's far. It's a perspective.
I'm telling you, that's way beyond what's taking place with this committee.
No.
And I think an unfair statement.
Well, and you can have your perspective on it. And I can have
And I
mine.
have it.
All right, fine. I know that's not his heart, okay? But that's what we have to take.
But let me
take
give
into
you a
consideration.
perspective. May I do that?
Sure, you can. Go ahead.
And this country has been imperfect from day one. But as you look at the progress we've made with race relations and the rest,
I agree.
it was led in large measure by preachers who preached the gospel. It wasn't done by politicians.
Exactly.
It was a move of God in people's hearts. But you need to always remember it was a majority of whites that passed those laws that reversed all that.
And
so if you're not careful, you're going
hold on for a
to
second.
throw a wedge in this thing and corrupt it.
Hold it. I'm not trying to throw a wedge.
Hang on.
Okay, and you are right. I mean, when you begin to look at the persons that marched with Martin Luther King, okay? But what I'm saying is that that's why we've got to look at these issues. You look at some of the I guess you could say, advances that have been made in race relations across these last few decades, okay? I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. But we've also got to look at the issue that many of our public school systems now have a majority-minority public school systems. And the question is whether or not they have the resources to do what they need to do. I understand a parent should have the right, and I agree with you, to make educational decisions. I just need to make sure you understand my perspective when I look at this. Not as though this man right here has any ill will, or any member on this committee has any ill will at all. But I've got to make certain that I analyze it based on that perspective.
Thank you.
I want to, Senator West, I want to ask something because I think I've misheard. Did you say that previously, or you have a concern that in a predominantly minority neighborhood, school choice opportunities seem to drift toward white folks?
I'll give you. No, this is what I've said.
I knew I misunderstood that.
There are empirical studies that basically say, and I think one's from the Wall Street Journal, come to think of it, that in majority minority counties, okay, that as it relates to private schools, the majority of students going to those private schools end up being Caucasian. That's what it says.
Is that with or without a school choice
What school choice?
scholarship or something?
What school choice scholarship?
Well, I don't understand. I guess I need to read the
I'll-
Wall Street Journal and then remember.
No, what I'll do is
Wall
this, and I'll make sure I make it available to everyone. We need to make certain, and let's make sure we get that information on and provide it to the entire committee.
And then, of course, know that we're reading a rag, a newspaper.
Well, okay, well, however you want to interpret.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Well, I mean, you
that-
call it a rag, and, you know,
Newspapers
some
in
people,
general.
some people say it's a rag. Some people say it's authoritarian. I mean, it's
So I hear what you're saying. I'm just thinking I'd rather have studies or that can support that because I haven't heard that.
okay.
And I'm gonna. Do you have any other points to add, Dr. Scarborough?
No, ma'am, I think debate is good.